Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Now today we're going to have a quick discussion about what I'm currently running in terms of setup for the motor in this MN82 Toyota Landcruiser. Now the most popular upgrade is the 370 motor, and if you've watched my previous setup tour videos on this truck, you will have heard where I've said I don't really want to use the 370 motor. However, it's a popular upgrade and I think it's popular for a reason. So I wanted to, I guess, investigate what makes it so popular, what's so good about it. So I went ahead and bought a 370 motor to see how good it is, if it's good at all. So let's get into it. So yeah, like I said, I didn't want to use the 370 motor initially. I do have like maybe 3 motors for this truck, but I decided to get a 370 motor to test it out to see if it's any good. And if it is good, why is it good? Now, the first issue I ran into with the 370 motor using the stock receiver / ESC is it does not work properly. The stock ESC does not like the 370 motor upgrade. Let's get a little zoom in there. The stock ESC, it does not like it at all, guys. So that was the first issue. Getting it set up was fine. I'm currently running the stock transmission. I do have upgraded steel cut gears in there, but getting it mounted was fine. However, getting it to run properly was another story. It did not want to work properly. So guys, if you're gonna get a 370 motor in your truck, I would highly recommend you change the ESC. We'll get to that soon. I have a ESC here. We'll discuss that in a moment. But just so you're aware, guys, if you're getting a 370 motor, you're gonna want to upgrade your ESC. Now, before we discuss what ESC I'm currently running, I wanted to talk a little bit about the transmitter. Again, if you've watched my previous setup tour videos, you will have seen where I had a 8-channel, I believe that that transmitter was a Hot RC CT8A transmitter. Pretty decent transmitter, looked very cool, had tons of features and tons of functions. However, there were a couple issues with that transmitter that ultimately made me decide to go ahead and change it. So I'm currently running a different transmitter here. This is a 7-channel transmitter. Get to that in a second. But with that previous setup, that transmitter, it had the LCD screen on there. I'll put a little display here so you can see how it looks. A little unique. And also it comes with the battery already inside of the transmitter, so that's pretty good. Here's the USB. It looks like it is a C to C dongle. That's pretty good. It had the cool screen on there, lots of functions. It had a gyro and all that good stuff. However, the problems with that previous transmitter was the menus. They were quite confusing, like finding things like changing your dual rate, your steering trim, and so on. They didn't use the same standard jargon as what we're accustomed to. So if ever you wanted to make any adjustments, you had to run through the menus to try and figure out how do you do this, how do you do that, and that got old quick. Now, the final nail in the coffin was one day it just decided to no longer respond. The receiver, for whatever reason, was no longer responding when I turned on the transmitter, and it didn't have a bind button on the receiver. So I decided to change that. Now, what I'm currently running is this Hobby Fans. You can see the model number here. This is a 7-channel transmitter here. Very inexpensive, but crucially for me is it has all those adjustments right here. Nice and simple, right at the top here. Any adjustments I want to make, I can do it right from the top of the transmitter here. I don't have to scroll through menus to make any adjustments, so that's pretty good. Now, one noteworthy thing about this receiver that comes with the transmitter is it's a 7-channel, as you can see, It has that bind button, which is good, but also it has functions for your lights. So if you wanted to add, as you see here, FL, HL, and so on, headlights, front fog lights, park lights, backup lights, not sure, oh, center, left, I think those are for the indicators, and M1, I'm not sure what that is. But it has the functions for lights built in to the receiver, which is pretty cool. One would argue this is maybe a 14 channel receiver. You know, that's not quite right, but you get my point. Is you don't have to add your lights to the regular 7 channels here, so you still have all seven channels that you can use to do whatever you want to do, but you can still add lights with minimal issue. You don't have to add it like a external light controller, so that's pretty cool here. Now, speaking of lights, I do have a light kit on order for this truck, so this truck will be getting fog lights, indicators, it will be getting tail lights and all that good stuff in the not too distant future, so you can look out for that very soon. But yeah guys, this transmitter here, 7 channels. If I wanted to add a winch, I have that right there. There's another one there and a couple up top. Foam for the steering, nice progressive throttle, and very inexpensive. So again, that's the model number there from Hobby Fans. I've been pretty impressed so far with the performance of this transmitter, so very happy about it. Gets the job done, and crucially that receiver has that bind button. Should any problems arise, I can easily reconnect the transmitter and receiver. Now, I did mention as well that I'm running a new ESC. Let's punch in on that there. This ESC is a 60 amp ESC from Power Hobby. Now again, I have a bunch of different parts for this truck, but I wanted to try this transmitter because, this ESC, because 1, it was budget friendly, and 2, it had the power I was looking for. I don't need major power for this truck, but it does have more than enough to get the job done. So this one is a 60 amp ESC. I forget the name of it, I'll put it in the description. But it gets the job done. I've been testing it out to see how well it works, and so far I'm impressed. As for the battery for this truck here, I'm running a 3000 milliamp hour T-plug Urgenex LiPo. It's a 2S, so not a lot of power, but a lot of runtime, guys. So this one fits in the stock location with no issue whatsoever, no modifications needed. So if you're in the market for a good LiPo, I'd recommend this one here. Tons of runtime, good dimensions and all that. Pretty decent battery, so there you go. Now also, like I said, the previous transmitter I had with my previous setup was from Hot RC, and like I said, it was a good transmitter. It just had some things about it that were not so great, or could be better, let's say. So this is a more basic one. It's not an 8 channel like the one I had before. This is a 6 channel, but it's basically the exact same thing. The only difference is this has the analog adjustments, which I think is a better thing, and it does have the trim and all that right at the top. You don't have to kind of like run through menus to find what you're doing. So I think ultimately this is a better transmitter. Now you may be asking, why do I have 2? Now remember guys, I do have the build going on for the LC80 Landcruiser. That's a WPLC 54-1. So this is the transmitter I'm going to test out for that truck. So I'm quite anxious to see how well it does. So I don't know what it's like so far, but we'll see. So yeah, this is the receiver for that Hot RC CT6A. I believe that's the name of it. So yeah, very curious to see how this thing performs. Now, if you've watched that previous rebuild video that I did on this truck, you might have remembered where I mentioned the jerry cans being too big. So I got some new ones here, but I have new lights on order for this truck, as well as a new tire rack. So I'm gonna have that installed. You should see that updated in the next video. So yeah, just wanted to give you guys a little look at the truck, you know, a deeper look at what I'm running, how it works, and so on. So yeah, guys, that's my current setup with the MN82. Awesome truck, as you all know. But guys, I want you to get subscribed, because that LC80 WPL C54-1, that truck's almost done, so you can look to see that video next week. I think you're gonna like that truck, guys. Like I said in the previous video, I did something unique with that truck, different suspension, all fresh ideas for that truck. So get subscribed to see that one. I think you'll like it a whole lot. So that's been a brief look at the MN82 Toyota Landcruiser, as well as some updates, my current setup, motor issues, receiver upgrades, and so on, transmitters and all that. So guys, thank you so much for watching, and have a good day.